Listen, Mizza, find you somebody to motherfucking play with, Mizza. Les Miserables. You already played with your own. We seen how that went. And you know I don't surgery shame or body shame. You know I don't even do that. But I don't know if you fat, obese, chubby, or skinny. The whole thing is, leave me alone. Now, I don't know if this was before or after Freckles and Bumbleina came out. However, you took to your Twitter during those times to downgrade and downplay the top Black women in their respective fields at the time. So that tells me a lot about you. So instead of you coming on Twitter to give props to the top Black women in your field at that time, to the women who you later worked with, so I guess they weren't that bad after all, huh?
Nicki Minaj just snapped on SZA over what looked like a harmless tweet. But this wasn't just internet shade. It quickly spiraled into accusations, body shaming, and even old tweets from over a decade ago getting dragged into the spotlight. What started as a cryptic comment about Mercury retrograde turned into a full-blown digital meltdown that had fans asking, wait, what's even happening right now? At the center of the storm, a mysterious song called Broken Barbies, some tense history between Nicki and T's exec Punch, and a tweet from SZA that may or may not have been aimed at the queen of rap. Nicki didn't hold back. She called SZA a liar, accused her of faking her freckles, and even said, quote, "You are not an icon," and SZA, she clapped back hard, but then tried to step out of the chaos, tweeting, "I'm done with this," but by then, the internet had already exploded. It all started with a song. A track called Broken Barbies began popping up on X, pushed by none other than Punch, the well-known executive from TDE, Top Dog Entertainment. Now, Punch wasn't vague about it. He was tweeting, posting, and hyping up the song heavy. But here's where things took a sharp left turn. Nicki Minaj thought it was a direct shot at her. Why? Well, for starters, Nicki built her brand around the Barbie persona. Barbz aren't just fans, they're a full-blown army. So a track called Broken Barbies, from someone she already had tension with behind the scenes, to her, that wasn't just music. It felt personal. According to Nicki, this wasn't the first time Punch had rubbed her the wrong way. She hinted at past business deals that fell through, claiming he had a personal grudge. Not only that, she accused him of trying to sabotage her career by working against her on platforms where she makes her living. She didn't drop vague hints either. She called him out directly on X, accusing him of pushing shady narratives and stirring up drama under the radar. But what really set it off came next, because someone else tweeted and Nicki took it very personally, and that someone was SZA. While Nicki was already fired up over Punch's tweets, SZA dropped a message that at first glance seemed totally random. She tweeted, "Mercury retrograde. Don't take the bait, silly goose." No names, no mentions, no clear target. Just a vague, playful tweet during a chaotic news cycle.
Now, I don't know if this was before or after Freckles and Bumbleina came out. However, you took to your Twitter during those times to downgrade and downplay the top Black women in their respective fields at the time. So that tells me a lot about you. So instead of you coming on Twitter to give props to the top Black women in your field at that time, to the women who you later worked with, so I guess they weren't that bad after all, huh?
But Nicki Minaj, she didn't see it as harmless. She saw it as a jab. Within minutes, Nicki fired back, and it was brutal. She clapped back with, "Go draw your freckles back on, Buki," and then added, "Liar, liar, pants on fire," sounding like a DMN dead dog. The internet was stunned because, let's be real, that tweet from SZA could have meant anything. Astrology, personal vibes, random shade. But once Nicki responded, the tone shifted from confused to confrontational. SZA didn't back down either. She replied, "I don't give a F about none of the weird stuff you poppin'." Just like that, it escalated. A misunderstood tweet turned into a full-blown war of words, and while fans were still trying to figure out what just happened, Nicki wasn't done, not even close, because next, she took the drama off social media and unleashed an entire monologue on her own live stream. After dropping explosive tweets on X, Nicki Minaj took things to Station Head, her live audio platform, and what she said next wasn't just petty. It was personal, brutal, and relentless. With thousands of fans listening in real time, Nicki unleashed a tirade aimed squarely at SZA, and she held nothing back. She started with, "Go find somebody to play with, ma. Lay him. You already played with your own. We seen how that went." Then, in what many saw as a body-shaming jab, Nicki added, "I don't surge with shame or body shame. I don't even do that. But I don't know if you fat, obese, chubby, or skinny. The whole thing is leave me the F alone." It wasn't just the tone, it was the volume. Nicki kept going. She accused SZA of downplaying and disrespecting top black women in the industry, the very same women she later collaborated with. Conveniently, after they were no longer competition, Nicki's voice got sharper, her delivery more surgical. Instead of giving props to the top black women in your field, you tried to downplay them, including me. She framed SZA as someone who faked her way into success, mentioning the freckles, again this time calling out what she saw as performative authenticity. The rant left even her fans speechless. Some couldn't believe what they were hearing. Others cheered her on, but this wasn't a clapback anymore. It was a full-blown dismantling of SZA's public image, and just when it felt like things couldn't get more unhinged, Nicki brought out receipts, old resurfaced tweets, the kind people hope are buried forever, just when things couldn't get any messier. Nicki pulled out the receipts. She began retweeting a thread from one of her fans, and this thread wasn't light. It included alleged screenshots of old tweets from SZA, dating all the way back to 2011. The tweets weren't pretty. They appeared to show SZA taking shots at some of the biggest names in music: Beyonce, Rihanna, Ciara, and even Nicki herself. One tweet allegedly shaded Iggy Azalea in response to Nicki's success, suggesting SZA had a habit of throwing dirt on other female artists before she became famous. And here's the thing, SZA wasn't even SZA back then. She was just another voice on Twitter, barely known in the industry. But in 2024, with millions of fans watching, those old posts hit way differently. Nicki used those tweets as ammo. She implied that SZA had always been bitter, an outsider, desperate to be accepted by the in crowd, who now played innocent but once had a long history of tearing other women down.
You were just one of the kids that couldn't get in the crowd, at the in crowd, huh? You went and started drawing freckles on your motherfucking face. But do these people not know my stats? Like, does this woman think, like, on any day that if me and her walked in the room, in any country, in the world, these bots done got to your mother fat heads, I see. Y'all don't even know who's a mother superstar and icon anymore, huh, Mizza? Mizza, you're not an icon. You are a yodeling fool who needs auto-tune, who done dissed every female entertainer based off of, the screenshots. Take your yodeling ass on somewhere else. But ultimately, this is not that serious, you guys, okay? And honestly, I hate having to speak like this to women.
Fans were stunned. Some said Nicki went too far. Others said she was simply defending herself against hidden shade and years of behind-the-scenes disrespect. But one thing was clear, Nicki had receipts, and she wasn't afraid to use them. And after that, SZA had to make a decision: fight back or walk away. After getting dragged by name, face, and freckles, SZA had a choice: keep clapping back or step away from the madness. She chose the second option, but with just enough sass to keep people talking. In a final tweet, SZA posted, "I'm done with all this. I didn't directly tweet at anybody. I was tweeting about something from a show. She came at me, so of course I responded. But I'm off this. I'm gonna go be meek and silent." Now, to most people, that might have sounded like peace. But to Nicki Minaj, the word meek hit a nerve. Fans immediately caught the possible double meaning. Was SZA subtly referencing Meek Mill, Nicki's ex, while calling herself meek and silent? Was that shade in disguise? Nicki's reaction suggested she definitely took it that way. And even though SZA had technically bowed out, Nicki wasn't ready to let go. She continued to tweet, vent, and analyze every move SZA made after that, including something as simple as retweeting her own chart stats. That's right, SZA reposted some of her latest music milestones, and Nicki took it as another backhanded flex. The vibe was, oh, now you want to talk numbers? Even though SZA never mentioned Nicki again, Nicki saw everything, and she responded to everything, and that set the stage for what came next: a wave of insults that hit even harder than before, because now Nicki wasn't just defending herself. She was trying to completely shut SZA down. At this point, Nicki wasn't just defending herself. She was on a mission to bury SZA's credibility. And she did it loud, raw, and with no mercy. During another segment of her station head rant, Nicki zeroed in on what she saw as the biggest problem: people mistaking popularity for legacy. She barked, "Do these people not know my stats? Like, does this woman really think that if me and her walked into a room in any country in the world, they wouldn't know who the real superstar is?" Then came the line that lit up the internet: "Misa, you are not an icon. You're a yodeling fool who needs auto-tune and who dissed every female entertainer based off those screenshots." It was the kind of insult that hits on every level: name, talent, history, even authenticity. Nicki didn't just question SZA's artistry. She stripped her of icon status in front of millions. And yet, despite all the fire, Nicki ended with a contradiction. Ultimately, this is not that serious, you guys. I hate having to speak like this to women, but the damage was done. Nicki had gone from cryptic tweets to calling SZA a fraud, a phony, and a mean girl who disguised her shade with zodiac quotes and smiley emojis. Meanwhile, fans were split. Some said Nicki had every right to defend herself. Others said she looked insecure and unbothered by someone who wasn't even coming for her. And a third group, they were just here for the memes, popcorn in hand, watching the chaos unfold. But no matter which side you're on, one thing was obvious: this was no longer about a tweet. It was personal, it was layered, and it was loud.so. Now, the real question was, what even started this whole mess? Because when people finally traced it back, they were stunned. The song that triggered it all had nothing to do with Nicki Minaj.so. After all the tweets, all the rants, all the name calling, body jabs, and resurrected tweets from 2011, it turns out the song that triggered this entire meltdown had absolutely nothing to do with Nicki Minaj. The song Broken Barbies, the one that Nicki thought was a diss, was actually created by an up-and-coming artist named I'm Lyric. It wasn't about Nicki. It wasn't about SZA. It wasn't even remotely connected to either one of them. Punch. The TDE exec Nicki, accused of sabotage, was simply promoting music, and the title just happened to touch a nerve. But by the time that became clear, it was way too late. Nicki had already gone nuclear, dragging SZA into a digital war she may not have even meant to start. Fans were left picking sides, piecing together old tweets, and trying to figure out how something so small blew up so fast. And that's the crazy part. None of this had to happen. If anything, this whole situation was a perfect storm of miscommunication, ego, old wounds, and Twitter fingers moving faster than common sense. But it also revealed something deeper: how fragile the line is between public persona and personal pride, especially when two powerful artists feel misunderstood, misrepresented, or disrespected. So what do you think? Did Nicki overreact? Was SZA being passive-aggressive? Or was this just another case of Mercury retrograde causing chaos online? Let us know in the comments. And if you're into behind-the-scenes drama, unexpected beefs, and wild social media moments, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss when things pop off again. Because in today's celebrity world, one vague tweet can spark a full-blown war.